for the webinar today. Okay, thank you so much for getting time to join us in this webinar. The title is Leveraging Portuguese-Speaking Markets for Communicators and PR Agencies in Africa. The webinar will try to highlight on the opportunities available in the lusophone African markets for the communicators, PR agencies, and all the communication experts globally, yes. So a brief overview of the webinar. I'll take you through this briefly. Africa is one of the world's fastest growing regions, with several countries showing strong economic growth rates over the past few years. The continent has become an attractive destination for businesses looking to expand their global footprint, and particularly those in Europe, Asia, and North America, and South America. With the rise of countries like Angola, Mozambique, Cape Verde, Guinea Bissau, and all the other lusophone speaking countries in Africa, they present enormous economic opportunities for forward-thinking communication professionals and public relations agencies on the continent. However, until now, getting access to these markets and effectively reaching the audiences across the borders has proven to be a significant challenge. That's all set to change with the introduction of Luso, a groundbreaking press release wire distribution service that simplifies global outreach, thanks to the partnership between African Media Agency and OnTime Communication, having come together and bring us these innovative products. During this webinar, I'll gain first-hand knowledge about the partnership between African Media Agency and OnTime Communication, learn more about the unique characteristics of the Luso service, learn the tactics for maximizing exposure, and discover how you can also seize the chance to grow alongside some of the world's most promising economies, especially in the lusophone markets. And I want to welcome you all and thank you for joining us. And today also I'm privileged to host two enterprising and very professional communication experts from the continent, the CEO of African Media Agency, Eloine Barry, and the CEO of OnTime Communication, Carolina Barros. I'm privileged to host you ladies, and welcome to our today's webinar.
Thank you, Julius. Thanks everybody for joining us. Happy Africa Communications Week.
Thank you, Julius. Thank you, everyone. And also, happy African Communication Week. It's a great pleasure to join you today.
Thank you, thank you. You're welcome on board. And we are looking forward to learn more from the knowledge you have and share what you have with the rest of our audience today. And just to start off our conversation, I will request Eloine to briefly explain to us the mission and services of African Media Agency. And also the same, I will also request the same after maybe Eloine for Carolina, just to also briefly explain to us the services and the mission of OnTime Communication. Thank you so much. And Eloine.
Sure,
please.
thank you, Julius. I started African Media Agency a while ago, actually. My communications journey with the continent started 20 years ago, when the continent was still considered a charity case. So it was interesting to just see the perception and gradually seeing how things are changing now and how people don't really question communications on the continent anymore. So that's quite refreshing. And basically we started with, a few goals in mind, but the key one was to make sure that we work in a way that it was really much helping actors on the continent tell their story in a way that is respectful to the cultural context of the continent. So that was, always important to us to tell a story that aligns with what the continent really is about. So, equipping our clients with that. And also the other mission was to making sure that we work closely with journalists, ensuring that they get information that they need to get at the right time, in the right formats, respecting their editorial charter, and really working together to build a relationship that is for them to really understand that without us they can't work, and without them we can't work. So it was always sort of very important for us to establish that key relationship with the journalist. And then what happened as the company grew, we started to set up basically 3 different pillars. So the first one is our wire distribution, which is a press release distribution that is, used by international organizations, private companies, individuals who at some point in time need to communicate a message and a news. So they come to us and we distribute it to the newsroom of the continent. That's our first product. The second one is our agency, where we have clients on retainers and work with them on their communication strategy, establish their campaign, roll them out in different markets. And the third one is our academy, where we train and teach journalists how to write better and how to understand the different industries. So these are our missions, and these are our 3 basically products.
Thank you, Eloine. Carolina, just a brief overview of your mission and services at OnTime Communication.
Thank you, Julius. Thank you, Eleni. OnTime is in Angolan market since 2010, more than 10 years. When I created the company, it was without any perspective to be the one that we are today. So I built the company focused on some clients that maybe they need a support for their communication strategy in the Angola market. Because on that time, talking about PR was something new, but about send a press release to the media and have some exposition on the publication was something that the people know. So we tried to show, in the beginning, we was teaching our clients the relevance to have a communication strategy in the market, how to build a relationship between the companies, between the brands and the journalists, more formal relationship than informal relationship. I believe most of the professional PRs that are here in this conversation knows in the beginning, some of the clients knows maybe 1, 2 or 3 journalists, and then they say, no, I have a contact, I can put the press release on that publication. But from our side, from my side, or from our side, we start teaching the clients how to create a strong relationship with the journalist, and then how to have a strong communication strategy, not only to send a press release, because the communication strategy, they have several steps. We start, we make the monitoring, and then we evaluate the impact of this campaign. The other mission that gave the name of the company was also give the answers on time to the client, because I was coming from another company that it takes a lot of time to give answers, sometimes to give the feedback of the client. Even the campaign also must know that, okay, we made the communication campaign, but the result wasn't the one that was expected. On that time, I was afraid to share the reports with the client. Look, your press release doesn't say, no, any journalist doesn't publish it, that. But we don't have to be afraid, you know. On the past, we used to be afraid to share this information with the client. Okay, wasn't good, the things doesn't work like it was expected, but we can do a different, let's review the strategy and these things. So show the client how it's possible to put the communication on their business plan, strategy, and start from the beginning, not only on the middle when they have a problem. Thank you, Judith.
Thank you so much, ladies, for that brief discussion on the mission and your journey and how it has been. And maybe just the audience will be eager to know how this partnership between African Media Agency and OnTime Communication was conceived. How did you guys come together, Elohim? Or what factors or motivation led to the collaboration? What does this collaboration benefit clients looking to reach the lusophone markets? And also maybe how does this align with the theme for Africa Communications Week of Borderless Africa?
So it's always been interesting for us. We've always said, yes, come and use our product. We can do Pan-African distribution. And then we would have clients coming to us and say, okay, great. I have this press release to distribute in Kenya, Nigeria, Senegal, Angola, and Mozambique. And we would be, okay, Kenya, Nigeria, Senegal, we've got this. And then Mozambique and Angola, literally the team would start sweating. And it's been, we would always find a way to maybe, sort of direct them into a different direction because it was just really difficult to do it. It was something that we never really nailed. So we didn't really have a Portuguese speaker internally. Then we tried to use like a couple of freelancers on the ground. There was always an issue with, the timeline, the reporting. It was really, really complicated. And to be honest, we were always avoiding pitching these countries. And we were sort of very much neglecting them, always coming back to our clients and saying, these countries are very difficult to deal with, just so you know. And then eventually they would say, okay, fine, let's just stick to the Francophone and the Anglophone. So we're really remaining in our sort of comfort zone. But it was always something that was nagging me, thinking how, and even as a team, like Julius, we had that conversation numerous times. How do we improve that? How do we really build a product that is relevant? We can't call ourselves Pan-African if we can do all of the countries, but then we just neglect this huge region that keeps on growing. So, it was like sort of trying to identify, and then really and this is why I think this theme of Africa Communications Week this year, Borderless Africa, describes exactly the way that we're structured, and the way that we collaborate and the way that we work. I'm currently based in New York. I'm relocating to Abidjan at the end of June. My team is across the continent. We always look at opportunities to collaborate. There's no other way to do a good job if we don't, sort of come together and look in the same direction. Together, we're stronger. And so what happened is Carolina actually joined our ACW group, and I had her in mind. I remember her name, and I was like, whenever there is like a need whenever we're sort of ready to really expand in this region, let me speak to this lady. And Inyola, introduced her, and then there was an opportunity where, Julius and his team and I sat down together and were like, should we try and speak to Carolina? So I remember having a first call with you, Carolina, and really aligning, like wanting to do the same thing in a very simple way, but in a fast way, that having that hunger of, that you find often in ladies in communications. We have a way of saying, okay, this is where we want to go. These are the 3 steps that we're going to take together. Let's do that. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And that's how it happened. We got a lawyer together that dragged us into all sorts of different directions. But the 2 of us were like, lawyers might be saying that, let's start. And, I'm grateful for this. We now have a much bigger team. We have a team that supports us on the ground. We pitch together. We have a real product that really allows our clients to, whenever they come and they say, oh, can we do a Portuguese distribution? I'm like, absolutely, we can. Absolutely. And we reach out to Carolina, and it's just a great way of collaborating. So that's basically how the partnership happened. And we now co-pitch. And there's a way where it feels also so important for me to learn. My dad was actually from Guinea Bissau, like side stories. So I always had an interest in the Portuguese-speaking countries. You know, he grew up in a small town in Guinea Bissau. I always sort of wanted to understand more, first the language, but also, you know, the different cultures that you find in these countries and the similarities. And just to be with Carolina and to know that, okay, we have this big pitch at the moment for a healthcare client. Can we sit down together and can you tell us what works, you know? How do people like, what's the tone to adopt and all of that? And I know that we'll be talking about this a bit more in a bit, but this is the essence of a good collaboration, is when each of us learn, each of us align to build a product that is fantastic for clients to use. And that's, you know, basically how we grow and how we do our job better, for sure. So Inyola, thank you.
Thank you so much, Eloine. Carolina, with the huge experience that you have in the lusophone market, maybe you can share with the audience the key economic trends and drivers of growth in the lusophone region, and how do these factors also contribute to its potential as a market for other communications experts who would be wanting to get a share of that market?
Okay, just quite a few minutes to talking about how the partnership works. The good things also in the way we manage our companies, but at the same time, we know what we want. We have the same focus and we know what to expect one each other. So this is one of the good things that make the things work. You talk about lawyer, I would like to share this experience. Sometimes we call some service provider to help us to give some answers. But yes, I remember when I say, we are wasting time, what we're expecting for to start, and then you say, no, it's about the lawyer. I say, let's put the lawyers outside and then let's move on because we know what we want. And then, as you say, we are here. I don't know how much time we spend together, but it must be also a great experience for us, like OnTime also. Julius, talking about the culture, is this one my question?
Yes, culture.
Yes, the question was about the key economic trends and the drivers of growth in the lusophone region.
So the good thing is, as Africans, we always have good things to offer to the Europe, Occident, Asia, and America. I don't know how write that, but you say Africa is rich in very things. So I think this is one of the
Martina, I don't know if you can hear me, but your connection is getting a little unstable.
Carolina, you have a weak connection?
Yes.
No.
We can't. You're breaking up quite a bit. I don't know if you want to try without your camera.
It's okay now?
It is. Yeah.
It's okay?
Yes.
Sorry, we don't see my beautiful face now.
We miss you.
I was saying, even we are in the same continent, but we are different. The customers are different. The way the people think, the legislation. So we have a lot of difference in market to per market. But the challenge is exactly this one. For example, I can talk about our partnership, me and OnTime and the African Media Agency. Sometimes one press release we send to Angola, they doesn't have the same acceptation in the Mozambique, Cape Verde, or São Tomé because the legislation of that market. sometimes the people in Angola doesn't accept, but in Mozambique they accept. So the challenge, first of all, is to know the market where we are. But sometimes we have a surprise also. But it's good to advise the client, look, we're gonna do this plan, we're gonna send to this market, but the success fee, we cannot give you 100% of sure. We will do our best, but don't have 100% of sure. Recently, we distribute a press release talking about one party. We will share downstairs our case study. But in Angola, honestly, like that will be first for you, doesn't have the same acceptation that when I sent to Julius and Julius sent to Anglophone markets. It was a success outside, but wasn't here outside. You have something that we don't have, is how to teaching the journalists what is advertising content and what is a news. For us, this is the daily challenge. I don't know if I answer you.
Yes, you have answered me, and also you have touched on the cultural nuances and communication preferences and how to also advise clients. So basically, you have answered me in depth. So this will take me to maybe my next question, which will be the traditional obstacles that companies typically face when expanding into the lusophone market, and how can they overcome these obstacles? Like, for instance, if a company that has been operating largely in the Anglophone market tries to expand into maybe Angola, what are the common obstacles that they face, and how can they mitigate this so that it does not really bring them down? Carolina. And also, Eloine, you can also still contribute on this.
While Carolina is coming back, I think, you know, that's exactly what Carolina was saying, is getting our clients to understand that there needs to be advantageous to the country that they are distributing. But it's the same across the board. You know, distributing a press release to Kenya that is not Kenya related would be very difficult to place. So Carolina, do you want to carry on this? You're on mute.
The markets, they are not the same. For example, right now, and regarding the partnership we have OnTime and AMA, OnTime is more focused on the lusophone market because we are Portuguese speakers and we have a good, how can I say, we move very well on this market. Once we have the partnership, my partner is the one that takes care of Anglophone markets. So we build the strategy together. We also ask him for advice, and we send the press release for this market regarding our partnership advices. Regarding the culture, regarding the customer, regarding the media for Anglophone market, OnTime is not the one that will 100% advise the client, but my partner is the one that have to advise me, and then we advise the client and also manage his expectation. The same way for us, we advise the client, the partner, this will not work, this will not work, and then they share this. I think partnership is about advice, because we are the eyes and mind of the partner in the lusophone market, and the same for them in the Anglophone market.
Thank you, Carolina. Ellen, do you want to add on this some of the typical obstacles that can be faced by companies wanting to expand into the lusophone or to maybe to the francophone market when they have been existing in the different markets that are not of their expertise?
I can speak about the Anglophone markets and the francophone, and it's always, you know, it's what we've been saying for years. It's sort of adopting a global blanket strategy into the continent. So the beauty of the wire distribution is that you will get some pickup, but is it the pickup that you really want? Not necessarily. Will your story make an impact on your brand? Certainly not. Will the journalists respect you? Absolutely not. So we will always come to our clients and say, listen, your story about you starting this particular product in this region that has nothing to do with Africa has no interest for the actual journalist. So that's something, you know, it's lots of education with our clients. I think working with PR agency makes it a lot easier because the PR agency sort of are the in between, you know, us and the client, and they do advise their clients much better now than they did in the past on what a good story would be for a particular market. But I think, you know, I would like to probably go more into the industry, and I think, you know, Carolina, you probably can advise us more on like what it is in the lusophone market. You know, we were talking about this. How do we advise our clients? Which clients should we speak to, considering the opportunities that they are in the lusophone market? Just, you know, a little outside of the communication, because I think that's a great advice to give, really.
I remember that our conversation during the briefing is how to advise the client. I don't know, before OnTime partnership, how the African media, as you say, used to advise the client for this market. But sometimes the main challenge is they know everywhere. They know all the journalists, but at the end, they don't know. So the kind of advice we used to do is more for our religion. It's about the culture, you know. Okay, we are also liberal, but some of the market, for example, Mozambique, you have a mix of the culture. You have a Catholic, Muslim, Mana, and Protestant. These elements looks like not relevant, but they are very relevant in the customer, how can I say, experience. And also, it's about the legislation. Angola have the proper law about the alcohol, advertising, and the contents. Mozambique also have the proper law about advertising the content. Cape Verde, regarding the strategy to attract more investment and the tourists, the legislation is completely different than in Angola and Mozambique. So the first thing that we used to advise, sometimes if you have the content, let's read the content and hear what are your expectations. We can advise better how to get into this market. The other thing that used to happen with us is sometimes the client just leaving from Europe and Carolina, I'm here in São Tomé, can you please give me a contact of 1, 2, or 3 journalists? Okay, what you want? What is your plan? What is your budget? Because sometimes people think that PR, they doesn't have to pay. I don't know why I could teach them this, but sometimes they think that they don't have to pay. So no, it's fine. I'm here. You can give me some of the contacts. I said, okay, you can contact someone from your list, not from my list, because I have to have the right information to drive you to the right person or to the right publication. So this is one of the challenges that OnTime used to have in our hands. Sometimes the people that when they came in Africa or in these lusophone markets, they already know one journalist. They only know the publication, they know what they want, they don't need any kind of advice. But even that, we used to fight with them.
Thank you so much, ladies. And just to our participants, the audience in the webinar today, for you, if you have a question or just some comment to make, you can use the chat box, and we shall respond to you, or the guests will respond to you appropriately. So the next is basically the case studies for some of the successful campaigns that you have carried out together in the lusophone markets, and the strategies that you have employed. Although the partnership, I know it's still very new, but of course there are some of the projects that you have done together, and you can also just give us also case studies of previous projects that you carried out that you think also it's worth sharing with us, so that we also know some of the tactics that you use and the strategies that you use to get the positive results. Yes, Carolina.
Sorry?
I just want to share with us some of the case studies for the campaigns or the projects that you have carried out successfully in the lusophone markets, and then maybe also share with us the strategies that you employed to get these positive results, so that at least we have one or two things to learn from this.
So from that one, we prepare one case study. I will ask the support for our technical manager, Eric. Please share the video for the recently case study we have done. For us, as a partner, it's something to celebrate, something that worked well for the client. To tell that the client is the data is very important on the communication strategy. So the client share with us the numbers and the impact of our press release Luso platform. Eric, can you help us, please?
Hello everyone, I am Mauro Sergio, one of the founders of Team Arrogancia, an Angolan platform that aims to unite young people into believing that the impossible is possible no matter what. We just had an event last April 29, and we had the amazing help of OnTime to broadcast it to the rest of the continent. Although we have had a fair success in the country, especially Luanda, with OnTime we managed to get more leads internationally. We've got a lot of people getting interest on our project from the rest of Africa, which is one of our main objectives. Of course, we just don't want to stay in the country. And of course, we used to believe that just the way we were doing was right. However, the OnTime team showed us that we could go farther and we could get better deals. So much that in 48 hours, we ended up sold out. So I just don't even know how to thank Carolina and her team for what they have done for us, and we will surely be together again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric. Carolina, maybe you would want to just give us a brief overview of that project and what it entailed, and for you to get those good results, because that is
I guess this video
feedback from clients.
Yes, it's a good feedback, and this video answered the question that made me before. Is the case study, the most recently case study we have to show. And of course, you was the best to support us to do the press release distribution also. It's the one that I was saying at the beginning. We also launched the same press release in Angola market. We had 0 publication. But you are the one, maybe now I'm the one that's gonna ask you how many news we have with this press release. We made Angola, Mozambique, Cape Verde for the lusophony, and then for the francophony also, you are the one that helped us. Thank you so much, Julius, to take care of us.
Thank you so much.
I'm going off track, Julius. I'm sorry, I'm jumping in because it's hard for me not to talk. Do you?
No, it's okay, Ellie.
Yeah, but and this is for my benefit also. I want to know a bit more, the industries that are really driving in Angola, Mozambique. Of course, we do a lot of reading, we hear about energy. What do you see happening in your country that is fairly new? What is really cooking? What's, what are the opportunities?
You're always in mute. I don't know why, Elohim. So we have two ways to see opportunities. We have the opportunities that the market provided for the investors in the agricultural sector, tourism, oil and gas. This is the one that we saw from now. And we have the opportunities that the market needs, the people needs. For example, I used to see young people need so many training, professional education in Angola. We have, yes, but it's not enough because we are not all allowed to go to the universities, to high schools. But if we have a profession in the hands, we also can contribute for the country development also. We also identify opportunities at the event sector. Is one industry that also can, it's a question come through. It's one sector, we also can see it has opportunity. Eleni, you can ask me, Carolina, you have an annual calendar event. I will answer that we haven't. We don't have that to share. But if we have event industry that works well, like for example, Mauro Sergio, he have one event that do all the years, but only now we was allowed to publicate this event outside of Angola. Maybe next year will be different. Yes, it's true. We have a long way to do. It's true also. But it's a time for the people start. I think Angola, as my country and as Angola, we have a lot of opportunity. The people must come to visit the country, to talk with the right people, to make network, like you and I, we made on the ACW team also, and see how they can invest, how they can make a partnership also. But from now, it's education and events sector.
Thank you so much, Carolina. And I would like to now open the floor for Q&A for our audience and participants in the webinar. As I had highlighted, if you have any question, you can just contact us through the chat box. And maybe I'll ask our technical guy, Eric, if you have got any question. From the audience.
A question that they might have, and I will answer that, is no, Carolina didn't pay this client for him to come on video and give the testimony. No money was involved. Okay, we have no questions, it seems. Seems we were great then.
Yes, it seems you exhausted everything well. So great. So just tell us the key takeaways, Eli, from today's webinar regarding the rising African market and the question of the Luso, the baby. Yes.
Yeah, to me, really, and you know, that's the theme of the week. It's like there is huge talent across the continent, and having this ACW platform helps us find this talent. So I think that's the first thing, is that we should really utilize this group like a lot, because first of all, not a lot of people. I feel like, you know, there's lots of activities going on. But it's sort of, we hear the voice from always the same people, but if you actually ask a question and if you have a need, then all of a sudden you have like hundreds of people who would respond to you and, you know, raise their hands. So to me, there's a true power in that network, and making sure that we tap into this group of talent really helps us go further. That's the first thing. The second thing is continuously looking at improving ourselves. We are in an industry that's so volatile and versatile and that changes so quickly, that ensuring that we renew ourselves, that we create new services that are more relevant to the world that we are in. I mean, we work very differently from 5 years ago, but we even work very differently from 6 months ago. You know, there's changes happening all the time. And to navigate this change, we need to be creative and to tap into this network. That's another thing. And then the next thing is, it's a huge continent, but some countries are saturated. some countries, I would never, obviously we do lots and lots of work in Nigeria, and this is great, but this is not necessarily, I think we need to be a little bit brave and to go outside of these saturated markets. When you talk about growth and when you talk about a Pan-African business, only solely relying on Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire will not get you very far, because these countries are really well served already. But being brave into going into territories that are sort of new and learning from the talents on the ground is a huge area of growth. And that's from a communications perspective, but also advising our clients. Maybe some of us work with entrepreneurs that have great ideas that could be replicated into the lusophone market. Maybe you do have, maybe you are launching an EdTech product that could be used in Angola to, as Carolina was saying, upskill this young population. So I think it's thinking a bit outside of the box and being brave. To me, that's how we achieve a borderless Africa, and that's how we achieve growth, really.
Great. Just a Q&A sort of from my side to Carolina, just because this one I'll do it on behalf of other peer communication experts or agencies, or just people in the communication industry. Just like, what's the relationship between journalists and the PR agencies, like in lusophone markets? Like, do you have to pay journalists to write or to pick up your press release? Because I know most of the participants may also want to know this, because this is always a big challenge when it comes to some markets and pitching. So how do you do that, Carolina? We can't hear you.
This question, if I have to pay the journalist. Hello?
Oh, now it's okay. Now it's better.
I was saying all the time, a communication event, the people ask me the relationship between the PR professional and journalists, we have to pay. I don't know why, but anyway. I used to advise the people that the best way to start a relationship with a journalist is to start paying to build this relationship. Because as a PR professional, we are source of the journalist. Yes, sometimes we have more needs than him. For example, we have a client to manage and we want to provide exposition for the client on the media. It's nice, but we have to be smart enough. We have to have attitude enough and sell our content, do the client content for this media. And then maybe build on the relationship on the way tomorrow he can need us. He can need us. I used to say the world is changing. Now we are talking about the compliance. Maybe it's not good for the company pay all the time. You have a news on the determinate publication about, and you have to pay the journalist. This is not also, it's not helpful.
We have lost you, Carolina.
For the client, not for the relationship between the PR professional and journalist. It's okay now?
Yeah, now it's better.
It's okay now?
Yes. Sorry about the connection.
We have no, it's okay. It's about to build this relationship. You also have a different strategy to build this relationship, but paying is not a good way. I don't advise that.
Okay, great. I think those who had this in mind taken care of you, and you have got the answer from Carolina. So the secret is just building a rapport with the journalists, and then the rest will be very easy. And I think this is the same way we also operate in the Anglophone market, because it's not sustainable to pay journalists. It's not sustainable. So I agree with that. And just coming back to you, Eloine, what are the next steps for the attendees or our participants who are maybe interested in learning more about the Luso? Are there any resources that you are going to share with them, or maybe directing them where they are available, or channels they can explore? We also heard you talking about the academy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so, coming back on this, it's, and, thank you, Julius, for asking that question. We have like a clear policy that, our products are not the results of any compensation to the journalists. However, we do have an academy where we train them, we teach them. And this is something that we would be very interested also in expanding into the Lusophone region. So, it's always, again, it's a collaborative work. It's if you do have an opportunity, if you do have a client who is interested in building that relationship with the journalist and who would want to offer a training for journalists in these markets, this is something that we can absolutely work on and happily, between your client, your agency, or you as a company, OnTime, African Media Agency, putting that together. And that's a great and very great sustainable way to, first of all, build your relationship with the journalist and getting to also learn from them while you teach them about your expertise. So that's one thing that I wanted to mention. If you have any questions on anything Lusophone or beyond, actually, because I know that on the call we do have quite a few people from the Lusophone market. Hola, that's about all I can say in Portuguese. Hola. So please feel free to reach out to us. We can put in the chat our contact details. If our tech help doesn't mind doing that for us, that would be great. Just shoot us an email. We can find time over the phone, make time with you, discuss your strategy if you want to pick our brains on certain things, or if you have a simple press release that needs distribution, that's a very easy thing for us to do. Do the same, email us, and then we'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you, Julius.
Thank you so much, Eloine. Just to wrap up, any final thoughts from you, Carolina or Eloine, that you'd like to share with the audience or our participants today?
Sorry, I forgot. I just got reminded. Carolina, you wanted to say it, yeah? Sorry.
No, you can say that. You can say we are live.
Okay, good. We do actually have a promo code. So whoever needs the distribution, we have a particular promo code during the African Communications Week, and we grant a 15% discount on any distribution in the Lusophone market, but also from the Lusophone market outside of the continent. So let's include that promo code for everybody here. Please use it when you reach out to us so we'll know that you're coming from ACW. Thank you so much. Sorry about that.
Thank you. I was just saying that any final thoughts or message that you'd like to share with the audience before we wrap up our conversation today?
It's ACW 2023. That's
Can I, Julius, are you there?
Yes.
Only to remind, the promo code is ACW 2023. My message, ACW 2023. Thank you, Eric. So thank you. I always mix the names, but Eniola for allowing us to make this partnership. It's something that we promise to make big and give you results soon as possible. But thank you so much to join us in this big platform that is AC. Great experience to work with you guys, African Media Agency, me, my team. We are very happy and we are learning too much. And thank you so much for the second year. Angola put the name on ACW agenda. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Ciao.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I would like to thank you all the guys who have been able to join us, the ACW group, our technical guy, Eric, for the work that you have done, and our lovely guests and CEOs. Thank you for taking time. And we have learned a lot, and I hope that also the participants have learned a lot. And we look forward to also having similar kind of engagements in the near future. Thank you so much, guys, and have a lovely evening or afternoon, wherever you are, depending on where you are. Yes.
Morning.
Yes, it's morning. Yes.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Yeah.